Hello and welcome to Beyond the Arena, our special segment for the Hangzhou Asian Games. I'm Hona, live from Hangzhou. Behind me, the Hangzhou Olympic Sports Stadium and the Tennis Center. And here in the studio, we'll explore stories from behind the scenes, including the blood, sweat, and tears that comes with it. In partnership with media agencies across Asia, we're going to take a deep dive behind the competition and medals and present diverse perspectives on the sporting spectacle. What joins me here in the studio is Audrey Utoyu from Indonesia's national broadcaster TVRI World. Great to have you here, Audrey. You've been to China a couple of times, but first time to Hangzhou. How do you like it so far?
Yes, Hona, thank you so much for having me here. It is such a great time to be in Hangzhou. Hangzhou is a truly beautiful city, and I love that I'm here for the Asian Games because I can feel the enthusiasm from the public. I can feel how everybody is incredibly excited, especially for the local people for this international sports event. And the city is incredibly well designed, I might add.
I can tell you're passionate about the city. We'll get more perspectives from you later in the show. Well, first up, for more on Team Indonesia's participation, let's go live to Omar Khan at the Hangzhou Asian Games. Hello, good evening, Omar. Tell us where you are and what is the latest on Indonesia's performances so far?
All right, well, Hona, I'm kind of sandwiched in between two competition venues. In this direction, we have had the basketball, the Olympic Zhejiang Stadium here. We've had the men's team playing today and the women's team, that's Team China, both getting victories. And behind me is the aquatic center where you have a lot of swimming pool events where people jump off diving boards and swim. So I'm kind of in between here. You can see all these people filing in. There's a game later tonight in the women's basketball event. That's the Republic of Korea and Japan. So quite a lively place to be in right now. Now, obviously the discussion today, the focus of your chat tonight is all about Indonesia. Go back 5 years, back to 2018, Indonesia hosting the Asian Games in Jakarta. They've passed on the torch down over, or up I should say, to Hangzhou, who is the host nation this time around. Now, that last edition of the Asian Games, that was the second time that Indonesia hosted the Asian Games, the first time going way back to 1962. I don't think I was born, I don't think you were born at that time either, so they've been quite involved. And since the inception of the Asian Games, Indonesia has sent a delegation and athletes to every edition of the Asian Games. So you can see how committed, how involved they are with not only developing their own competitors, their own athletes, but also joining that Asian stage of athletic competition. Now, let's look at where the country finds the most of its success, and that's going to have to be in badminton. They only have China ahead of them, who have won more golds and total medals in that event, which should come as no surprise. We've seen how far China has come in badminton, but Indonesia right behind them. Some of the standout players in Indonesian Asian Games history, we can first start with badminton. You have Christian Hadinata and Minarni, the latter having 11 medals. You jump over to tennis. Yayuk Basuki is one of the most decorated tennis players coming out of Indonesia to participate at the Asian Games. Move up to 2018, that last edition of the Asian Games as host nations. That was their only time at the Asian Games had recorded the highest total of medals. They clocked in 98 total medals at those Asian Games and 31 golds. You could say that is the home court, a home nation advantage, if you wish. And at these Asian Games here in Hangzhou, a total of 18 medals so far, so a bit not as good as the last edition of the Asian Games. They're a bit behind, but 18 to show so far, with men picking up 11 and women picking up 7. Out of those 18, a total of 4 gold medals. I believe you're going to be diving into that a bit more. Just to list those 4 gold medalists, you have Amelia Nursifa, who won the cycling BMX gold medal. Muhammad Putra, who I believe Yubin has interviewed and covered. He's picked up 2 golds in 2 shooting events. And then you have Harris Horadius, who has picked up a gold in a wushu discipline. So that is the latest on Indonesia. Hopefully they can kind of compete with what their levels were like back in 2018 in Jakarta. But please do enjoy your discussion in the studio. Hona?
Thank you, Omar, for your passionate report from the venue. Well, as Omar mentioned, Indonesia has secured 4 gold medals at the Hangzhou Asian Games so far, and shooter Mohammad Siddhartha Dewi Putra has won half of them. Our very own Wu Bin talked to the star about his time in Hangzhou and plans for the future.
Hangzhou ini kota yang sangat indah buat saya.
Hangzhou is a really beautiful city. First, the culture. Second, the people are really friendly. Especially today, when I came with the team, many people saw me and wanted to take pictures with me. Really appreciate it.
In the 10-meter running target mixed run, you were just 1 point ahead of competitors from TVRI and ROK. So share us your feelings about that intense moment, and how do you rate your performance at the 19th Asian Games?
Ketika pertandingan, ya saya jujur nggak pernah melihat papan skor.
Honestly, I never look at the scoreboard. I just have to remain calm. There's a lot of visualization, positive thinking, and prayer especially. Although I only had a 1-point difference, I did my best regardless of the result. I always tell the story of what I've done to my coach, as I need to get advice from the right person so my mind stays calm. And overall, I was calm at the line when I started shooting.
Saya sudah melakukan yang terbaik.
Winning half of Indonesia's gold medals is a very huge achievement. What does this mean to you and your country, and what will be your next goal?
Ya, terima kasih juga. Saya sangat berterima kasih untuk.
I really like to express my gratitude to people who've accompanied me over this time, especially my coach. I've also received a lot of support from my family, so I'd like to dedicate this award to my parents, to my country. As for my next goal, I don't know yet. I'm an athlete, but at the same time, I'm also a student. I need to finish university first, and then I'll plan for my next goal next year.
Medali ini juga terutama ya untuk negara.
To badminton now, where Indonesia's mixed and men's doubles teams have progressed to the round of 16 on Monday. Our very own Wubin again wraps up the day's results.
Monday's competition featured the mixed doubles, men's doubles, and men's singles in badminton, with 3 Indonesian teams taking part. In the mixed doubles round of 32, Rivaldi Rinov and Mentari Pita Haningtyas defeated Kangwon Hall and Jo Na-in from Team Korea after a 75-minute match and multiple ties in the last round.
So grateful to win this match. I hope this tournament can make me and us feel more confident.
But for another mixed team, things haven't gone so well. Kushargento Rihan Afao and Kusumawati Lisa Yu were beaten by Ye Hongwei and Li Jiaxin from Team Chinese Taipei 2-0 just 40 minutes into the match.
We played a team match last week. It was a bit different with mixed doubles, so we need to adjust more.
And maybe from the next, I will come back stronger with my partner. I will be trying harder more than yesterday.
And in the men's mixed doubles round of 32, Team Indonesia won the match against Team Macau China with great ease.
We feel quite good today, but we must prepare for the next round because the competition is heavy.
Indonesia has one of the world's best badminton teams, but at the 19th Asian Games, their men's and women's team were both knocked out at the quarterfinals, and their mixed doubles and men's doubles team will be competing in the round of 16 on Wednesday. Wubin, CGTN, Hangzhou.
Let's continue our discussion with Audrey Utoyu, news anchor at TVRI World. Well, Audrey, quite an impressive performance on badminton and shooting. So, Indonesia team now ranked 13th with 4 gold medals. How do you like the performances so far?
Well, Hona, I believe that Indonesia has really been doing their best in the past couple of games. And other than that you've mentioned, we've also been excelling in terms of archery and winning in shooting, and then still in the game for chess as well for weightlifting. And so I believe that there are lots of chances and opportunities for us to reach the top 12, because our goal is later on for the top 12 as well as 12 gold medals. That is what our minister said.
You mentioned about your goals is to enter the top 12 with potentially 12 goals, and this time around you stand over 400 athletes to participate in Asian Games, including Mohammed Putra, the star shooter we mentioned just now. What are some of the other stories you've touched and the athletes you've talked to before they came here?
Well, actually for Muhammad Putra Tera, we interviewed him at the West Lake in Hangzhou.
Wow.
And just from hearing his story, he said that this has been one of the highlights of his career as well, and being able to meet the other athletes. I know from the story from the archery athletes that they actually trained in Wuhan days before going to Hangzhou in order for them to be incredibly ready for the competition here.
Well, that might take a long time to get prepared for the Asian Games. You mentioned about 12 golds, so tell us more about what potential goals will be coming. In which fields are we expecting golds from Indonesian team?
We hope for us to, we have a weightlifting tonight as well as chess, and archery is still on the way as well, and climbing. We just we actually broke the record. One of the women climbers for the Asian Game at 6.6 seconds. And so I believe with these incredible achievements that we do have potential. I think we shall see, Hono, because we still have a couple of days before the closing. However,
well, there's still
I'm quite
a couple of days to go. Best of luck for your team.
Thank you.
And I know you have quite a fully packed schedule here in Hangzhou, and after fierce competition, most athletes return to the Athletes Village, and our very own Audrey visited the Rumbar, Indonesia. That is a home for Indonesian athletes. Let's take a look at how the Hangzhou Asian Games have created a miniature home for them.
I'm coming to you from Rumah Indonesia, the place where the Indonesian athletes are coming together during the 2022 Asian Games. And let's take a tour of this Rumah Indonesia. It is really interesting as this becomes the sanctuary for all the athletes to come here and to gather during a very intense time of competition. But they can have this place in which it can truly be a hub for the athletes to also come together. As you can see around me that there are a lot of facilities that are provided for the athletes, such as places for them to sit down, sofas, couches, books that they can also read in their spare time before or after their competitions. And this place there's also volunteers who are from the Indonesian Association, the Association of Indonesian Students in China, and they are truly helpful in facilitating as well as assisting the athletes during their time here. They work as translators and also helping the people here so that they can have a comfortable space for them to be in. And as you can see around me, behind me and beside me, that there was just a coffee machine, and beside me that there is also a dining table in which the athletes can come together and eat some delicious Indonesian food. On the table, there are several dishes that you might not be able to find anywhere else but Indonesia. However, just for this Rumah Indonesia, they actually ship the products from Indonesia to China about 3 to 4 days in distance so that the athletes would always have fresh foods to eat, and when they have some kind of homesickness, they're able to taste these delicious dishes as well as delicacies, and they feel right at home. As you can see, there is rendang, which is a traditional dish, and there's even rice, something that possibly they would not be able to encounter here, hence why they would need to ship the products fresh from Indonesia. And there are many people who are also in charge of this Rumah Indonesia, and other than the athletes, people who are part Indonesians, such as Indonesian media as well as Indonesian government officials, would also be able to come into this Rumah Indonesia. Why don't you follow me and check out more on this place? It is also very much well designed. They really ensure that this is a truly comfortable space for people to be in and for people to gather. And then behind me, this is also a backdrop in which the government officials as well as the athletes would be able to have press conferences. So for example, let's say that the media would want to come in here and interview some of them, and to also get the responses, they would be able to have and hold these press conferences here. Other than that, there is also a room in the back for them to watch these shows. So during the day, it is usually a bit quiet right now because there are lots of shows on these days. There are a lot of competitions that are going on in the main venue. For that reason, not all of the athletes are here. They are mostly training or they are mostly competing. However, they did mention that during the nighttime or evening time, it is usually much more lively because it becomes a place where they can let off some steam and they can come together together, possibly watch some games of the Indonesian athletes who are playing, and also show their support as well as solidarity for those athletes. This is truly an incredible place for us to be able to visit and take a look as well. And this place was in consideration since the games before. This approximately has been placed since the games in Tokyo, approximately around 2021. And since then, when there have been these multinational games all over the world, there would be one Rumah Indonesia for these athletes, for them to be able to call their second home as well. That is it from our report. I'm Audrey Utoyo and camera person Danudir Jamukti reporting for TVRI World.
Well, Audrey, I can tell you definitely had a great time in the Indonesian house. So do you have something similar back in Jakarta?
So Indonesian House, Rumah Indonesia, is actually made specifically for the athletes who are competing in international sports competitions.
Wow. We know Jakarta hosted like 2 Asian Games. One is in 1962, one is 2018. And TVRI was actually created especially for the Asian Games. Tell us more about that.
Yes, indeed. So we just celebrated our 61st birthday. So 1962 is when we were born, and we were created for the Asian Games because we are the very first television station in Indonesia. We brought television into Indonesia. So it's quite interesting how we played a big role as well in the Asian Games.
Incredible. So what do you think will be the lasting legacies brought by the 2 Asian Games?
Well, first, I believe infrastructure, especially for Indonesia in the 2018 Jakarta Palembang Asian Games. We now have a new stadium that's also built for sports, Jakarta International Stadium. And now with the new minister, Minister Dito Aryo Tejo, he's the youngest minister in history. He's just about 30-something years old. He was an athlete too.
He was an athlete, and then he became the sports minister. Incredible.
So now him having first-hand experience, and also with the Asian Games in 2018, I believe that we have great prospects for the future as well, because now we have these younger generations, people who have been involved and now really in the sports industry.
You talk about the younger generations, their participation in sports. Is it like a growing awareness for the general public on sports back in Jakarta after the Asian Games?
I believe it is, yes. It is indeed growing for the public, because the local enthusiasm for the 2018 Asian Games and for 2022 Asian Games have been a really
inspiration.
Yes, it has been inspiration for the younger generation to be involved, and the local people, after seeing the athletes come into Jakarta, they also have a willingness to participate in more sports.
And you mentioned about a very young sports minister. So what do you think will be the biggest challenges when it comes to developing all the sports sector, be it the funding or the awareness of the general public? What do you think might be the biggest challenge?
I would say the funding would be a big challenge, especially because sports needs to be recognized, especially as a more, I would say, as its own category, right? Apart from the other industries. So now having someone as a leader who has been on the field, I believe that he's someone who can really take this into another level.
And who has the knowledge and profession
and expertise
to lead the ministry and the industry. Thank you so much, Audrey, for your insights. We look forward to more cooperation in the coming days.
Yes,
well, that's all for today's Beyond the Arena. On behalf of the team at Hangzhou, thank you very much for watching.